Welcome back. President-elect Trump is preparing a series of executive actions related to immigration, some of which we expect him to implement as soon as he's sworn into office, 1 week from today. Incoming border czar Tom Homan sat down for a one-on-one interview with NBC's Gabe Gutierrez at the U.S. southern border. When it comes to implementing President-elect Trump's ambitious plan for mass deportations, Homan wouldn't put a price tag on the effort, but said the $86 billion number that's been floated would be a, quote, great start.
By when do you need that money in order for this to be effective?
The sooner we get the money, the more effective we're going to be. But because there's limited money right now, doesn't mean we're not going to start day one. We'll deal with it as we, we're going to start day one. The president's going to take steps to secure the border day one. We're going to start the national operation day one.
What are some of those steps on day one?
As far as, look, I'm not going to get ahead of the president on this. He's going to be announcing some things on day one. And going to be things you've seen in the past, and there's going to be some new things.
Are we talking about re-implementing Title 42?
I'm not going to comment. I'm not going to get ahead of the president on that.
Should we expect workplace raids?
Yes. I wouldn't call it raid. They're based on investigation. But why do I say that? Number one reason, where do we find most victims of forced labor? Worksite operations. The Biden administration said they're concerned about trafficking, to include forced labor trafficking, but they stopped worksite enforcement operations. 3.5 decades, that's where we find a lot of victims of forced trafficking.
How soon should we expect the ramping up of workplace roundups?
We'll have to see.
Are we talking around Inauguration Day, even on Inauguration Day?
I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to forecast what we're doing and where we're doing it, but you can count on worksite enforcement coming back.
Do you plan to prosecute public officials who don't help you?
What I would say is, sanctuary cities don't want to help us, that's fine. I think it's wrong, but that's fine, because I would think any elected official would want to remove public safety threats from the communities. But there's a line they can't cross. Now, I've heard things saying we're going to put roadblocks up, not allow you in the city. Well, that's a clear violation of federal law. If you don't want to help us, then don't help us. We're going to do it anyways. You're not going to lock us out of your city. We're going to do this job.
Will there be collateral arrests?
Yes.
So, for example, if you go after a immigrant who has a criminal record, you find him at home, his wife is there. She does not have a criminal record. Does she get arrested?
Is she illegally in the United States?
If she is. If she's undocumented, does she get arrested too?
Yes. She'll be processed, and we'll let the immigration judge decide what happens to her. They all have the right to see an immigration judge.
Grandma, for example, does she get arrested as well?
She in the country legally?
Yes.
Then she'll be put in front of an immigration judge too. It's not okay to be in this country illegally. It's not okay to violate laws and cross that border. It's going to be based on the specifics of each case and each person we encounter.
Discretion for each ICE agent. That gives a lot of power to each ICE agent.
Yes. Shouldn't they have that power? I mean, you give an officer the ability to take a life if he has to. We should give him the discretion on does this arrest serve the mission, and does this arrest serve the nation?
Should birthright citizenship come to an end?
I'll leave that up to the president to make that decision.
But what's your opinion? Do you think it should?
I'll say this. Birthright citizenship is a major driver of illegal immigration. And that's what the whole controversy is about right now, right? If you come in the country illegally, which is a crime, you get ordered, you lose your hearing, the federal judge says you must go home, or you don't show up in court and you get what they call an order in absentia, order removed, and have a U.S. citizen child. People think they should be immune. The law means nothing to you now because you knew you're in the country illegally. You chose to have an illegal alien. You chose to have a U.S. citizen child, knowing you're in the country illegally, knowing you were ordered deported, and you went and made that decision. That's on you.
What would you say to potentially Trump supporters, Trump voters, farmers, ranchers who employ undocumented immigrants as part of their industry? Should they be worried that their workforce is going to leave?
I would tell you, wait and see what we do with worksite enforcement before you make that judgment. There's a legal way to bring in agricultural workers in this country. If it needs to be expanded, if the Department of Labor can say that we don't have the workforce to do it, then it's up to Congress to make a fix. But right now, we're going to force the law as is.
Will mass deportation hurt the economy?
I think mass deportation and results of mass deportation are more important to this country than anything. I don't put a price on Laken Riley's life. I don't put a price on all these young women who have been raped and murdered. I don't put a price on our national security. What price do you put on national security? So I think the national security of this nation. We can't afford another 9/11. We can't keep affording American citizens dying at the hands of illegal aliens.
You have mentioned that there could be a hotline for people to call in to report undocumented immigrants in their communities.
It's one thing we're considering, yeah.
One thing you're considering. What would that look like?
That's what we're working on it now. What makes sense? That's still a fresh idea, working on it. But I want a place where American citizens can call and report. We need to make sure they have an outlet to help report child traffickers, forced labor traffickers. We want to give them an opportunity to be a part of the fix.
Do you plan to separate families?
Families, I've said it before. Families can be, if a family needs to be deported, if members of the family needs to be deported, then that parent needs to make a decision. Again, having your citizen child shouldn't be an amnesty card. They put themselves in that position. So if there's an illegal alien parent wants to be, it's going to be deported, he has a U.S. citizen child, then he needs to make a decision as a parent. You put yourself in that position, so you can be a parent, the child go with you to your homeland, or the child can stay with a relative or another spouse. But again, I am not putting myself in that position. The president they put themselves in that position. Having a U.S. citizen child does not give you immunity from this nation's laws.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.